Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Salutations to everyone around the world. This is Valerie M. or Maxfield, standing in my truth. It's been a long while. And in life, sometimes you have to take that break, take stock, stand back and reflect. I've learnt so much in the last year. I'm not even going back as far as when we started the whole COVID 2019, 2020. But, there was and I know I'm not alone in this thinking. It was a case of, oh my God, work has stopped. Bills have got to get paid. But hey, I've got enough money saved up, which I'm not saying everybody's the same. And what next? So one thing I found was COVID stopped me dead in my tracks. And everything that up until COVID, I wished, I dreamed, I thought, some things I put into perspective, and some things I actually made a plan, and finally some things I executed. The execution of some of the things that I did, I moved the goalpost, and then I got bored. I mean, I don't know if there's any other people that's out there that's like that, where you say to yourself, these are the things I want to do, and I'm going to do it regardless. But is it the right thing for you to do? Is it because you're just bored? But the good thing about that is you still tried it, regardless of where it went. What I found was the things that I did try to do, was I doing it because I needed to be heard? I needed to be seen? Was it a passion? And I had to recognize and say, do I need to keep doing that? Is it making me happy? Is it the right thing to do? Now, as much as I say that COVID stopped me in my tracks and it made me start a podcast show, get a YouTube channel, interview people, and to find out how, my family were, I still was missing, important ingredients. And I'm going to go back to what I just said, which was, am I doing the right thing? Is it because I just want to be seen? Is it because I've come from a musical and media background, and you feel that if you're not on top of everything and you need to, all of these things, this whole social circle, you need to keep it active. And I was getting caught up in it. I'm not going to deny it. I was getting caught up. And it felt that, I was losing things around me. I was losing friends. I was becoming self-indulgent, self-important. Probably not to other people, but at myself, because I wanted to take my craft very seriously. So I did all the homework. I researched, I bought the equipment. I looked at things that I thought, oh, you could do better, so you go and do better, Valerie. That was me standing in my own truth. But it's okay to learn what you know. I always find that experience is better than actually reading something and thinking, oh, I've experienced it because I've read it. That's not experience. That is just giving yourself knowledge. So I went in gung-ho with the minimalist bit of knowledge I knew about putting on a show or YouTube and stuff. Everything, I just literally threw it together. Now, for some people's eyes, it just looked really nice and polished and you're getting on with it. No matter what program you do, I think there's always going to be glitches. But that's not why I'm here. I'm just saying I'm giving you instances of the things that I have learned. And I can't speak for anybody else of why they do things and what COVID has taught me. What COVID, as I said, has taught me, that time away wasn't just to make a business of my own, whether it be for monetary reasons or just for fun, it taught me of who I was, who I am, what I'm becoming, what I need to become. It lets me look at my failings, my failures, and become accountable. It made me look at, don't worry about what other people do or what they say or the shade they throw. But say to yourself, if that's what's happening, look at why. Don't be mad, but make sure you hold yourself accountable. And I really, really enjoyed that. Some parts has been painful, very, very painful, revisiting. And it was not just past relationships or friendships that have dwindled along the way, or my life or music. I found I had so many regrets, and I was using things that I do now to park the regrets. But you can't. You have to face up and be accountable, no matter how much you are in the right. But to trigger somebody else, it's all part of your accountability and how you've acted or what you've said. Now, I am not the greatest person to say sorry. Do you know what I mean? But I have learnt through COVID to be able to be honest, have the honesty and feel humbled to say sorry. And even if when I do fly off the handle, which I've had to learn that too, because, hey, do not, I can be smiles, etc., etc. But I had to press pause and go, yikes, you could have dealt with that better. You could have dealt with that so much better. I'm still learning, don't get me wrong. Just recently, I have a thing about posting now on social media. I look at it that if I'm going to post for a reason, post for a purpose, and post to leave thoughts of positivity. I'm not saying everybody should be the same. I don't really care what anybody else wants to do. But that's what I've learned for myself. If you're going to post for your reasons. Post for a positivity, because you cannot please everyone. And the only person you should be pleasing is your damn right self. Pleasing to make yourself and your well-being stay in the right place. Now, just even being your own self can antagonize somebody else. But again, that is not your fault. They have to hold their own accountability of why their insecurity has them in such a way to throw shade or be upset with somebody else just by looking at them. Listen, we all know that we can look at a newspaper or something in the news and look at a person and go, don't like the look of that person, And that's purely because their face just doesn't fit within the imagery what's in your own head. Do you get what I mean, folks? They say knowledge is key. But does it mean that my knowledge is your key? Or your knowledge is my key? But what I do find, let me say that again, but what I have found for myself is the knowledge. It's how you digest it. Doesn't matter whether it be the Bible, a book, a person speaking from their experience. It's how you digest that knowledge. and how you apply it to yourself. Because I may make a cup of tea and decide that I'm going to infuse that tea bag for 15 minutes, whereas someone else will do the same thing, but that tea bag is only infused for 3 minutes and taken out because of the potency of how strength you want your tea bag to be. No one is saying that the knowledge that you learnt in school does not apply to you today, because it does. It just means that you don't have to apply the thing, that it's not everything that you were taught is what you now use. You're just knowledgeable about it. It's like being in a relationship. You know that relationship failed because you keep using the same knowledge over and over and over and over again until it comes back and smacks you in the face. Meaning, the knowledge that you learnt, you didn't apply it to yourself. You didn't hold yourself accountable for any part of the knowledge that you applied to yourself. You just took it and plastered it on you and said, everybody is just the same. Instead of taking it in, looking at it and think, well, I can't judge the next person I meet to be the same. So let me just deal with them as who they've come to me for face value. Tell them that, go to the table with clean hands and say, this is what I've done. Allowing them to say, okay, do I just want to date you? Do I want to just sleep with you? Or are you my soulmate material? These are some of the mistakes we make. Hands up. Yep, mine is up. Guilty as charged. I'm now going into my late years, and I didn't think that I'd be on my own for so long, even though there's trickles of people wanting to date me. But when COVID came along, it gave me a good excuse to park any interests that were, coming my way and work on me. But here's the funniest thing. I thought I was working on me, but I was getting sucked into the whole, I want to create a YouTube and I want to do all of it. And COVID caught me. So from 2020, I was, I've survived this. I'm good. And August 2021, I was struck down, considering that I wasn't going out, I wasn't doing anything. And one fatal distance of traveling somewhere, and I was down, out, hospitalized for a few weeks. That was when I realized I was definitely knocked out through COVID, and it stopped me in my tracks. What followed was long COVID. What followed was silence. What followed was a complete distancing from everything and everyone. What followed was hospital upon hospital upon hospital, pain upon pain, heart pain, chest pain, body pain. Nothing, facial changes, losing 18 to 20 kilos of weight within less than a month. I must say that where I was overweight, the only thing, two things I can take out of justice for COVID was finally losing the 20 kilos I wanted to lose and back down to my ideal weight, and stopping me in my tracks to really evaluate my life, my friends, and where I go from here from now. Some aren't that fortunate. Some aren't at all. And it's sad. And it does bring sadness. Some didn't have COVID where they suffered. Some people didn't, feel a thing apart from a mild cold. But there are those. And, they say you need to have underlying issues. You don't. It just attacks you. And some are fortunate too. And it's not old age. It can hit you at any age. You had teenagers and you had 30s, 40s and 50s up to your 80s all dying. You had the conspiracy theorists. But I'm not going to go down that road. What I'm talking about today is accountability for you. And what does that look like? I'm back. But it's taken me a while to want to come back. It's taken me a while to say, why did I start this podcast? There was a point I couldn't even look at my podcast and all the shows that I've done and all the YouTube shows and the people that are not viewing it or want to see what I'm doing. And the things that I've done wrong, putting out this YouTube show and making people want to listen to the things I had to say. Or the people that I was interviewing, I wanted you to get to know them. I had to look back and say to myself, be accountable for what you show. Be accountable why you're showing it. Be authentic. Be humble. And do what's right when the right time is. It feels strange doing a podcast show today. And it's going to feel even stranger when I start to unpack the laptop, unpack all the recording instruments, unpack the DJ controller, all the things that I put together. Everything's been packed away. I cut off all the subscriptions that I had. Everything has stopped. And today, 7th of March, after almost 6 months of a hiatus, I've decided to resurrect my podcast, Standing in My Truth, because I genuinely am standing in my truth. And I could go on all day long, but I'm over the long COVID. It's taken 6 months. And believe it or not, I caught Omicron literally 6 months to the day of catching COVID, the Delta variant. I'm now allowing myself to go out and be amongst other people and not come back with anxiety. I suffered terrible. Well, I still do suffer anxiety. You just don't stop anxiety overnight. It just doesn't work like that. I'm beginning to, when the pains in my heart comes along or in my stomach comes along, listen, I cannot even begin to tell you the pain I get. 4 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with mild emphysema, purely because I had pneumonia COVID. You know, it crackled in my lungs for 3 months, debilitated me in such a manner I couldn't get out of the bed for 2 months. But I'm up and about now. I'm going out. I'm making myself circulate to get used to a different air around me. I'm still able to work from home. I'm now making plans to hit the road and do shows. I never thought I'd be doing that ever again. There is a trickle of fear. Bookings are coming in. But I still have to hold myself accountable of what does my life look like now? What does your life look like now? It'd be interesting to hear from anyone who had gone through the same motion. Forget that I dabble within music. I work within construction. There's only so much I let people into. And that, again, was another thing I had to look at. I've created this whole monster of standing in my truth. But I wasn't standing fully in my truth because I'm holding back. But standing in my truth doesn't mean you tell the world everything. It doesn't mean that you become that vulnerable that people could judge who you are. It's good to leave with a message, as opposed to allowing people to think that they're in your life to cast judgment. I'm not an influencer. I choose not to be one. I just feel that there's so much stories to be told out there, and allowing people to use a platform to stand in their truth. And if they feel that they want to be vulnerable, then come on over to me and be vulnerable without any judgment, without any fear, to help somebody else. With that said, it is 7th of March. Great feeling to be back. And today's message is holding yourself accountable. Join me on Wednesday for my next excerpt of Standing in My Truth. Look forward to speaking to you all then. Have a great day. Goodbye.